Grace and love and welcome back to the podcast, you guys. It's Life Aspects with Visionary Rose. What can we learn from church hurt? Church hurt. Church hurt is something that a lot of people have experienced. Church hurt has withdrawn a lot of people from church. Church hurt has caused many people to not even want to go to church. Many times church hurt is even caused by the ones that is close to them. Many times the church hurt is caused by those that were by people that they trusted, by people that they thought had their best interests. Now, when it comes down to church hurt, one of the things that you have to understand is that the church hurt that you have faced, whether it was at a young age, a middle age, a teenage age, or maybe you probably just faced church hurt all your life. Now, I know when you think about church hurt, it kind of causes a burial. It kind of causes a blockage, because one of the things that you wouldn't expect to be hurt from is the church. And when I hear conversations that I've had with people when they have experienced church hurt themselves, and conversations where I would hear people, they're like, well, I don't want to go to that church, or girl, what's that church? Or man, what's that church? So I won't have to go there. And it causes a bad reputation for the church. It causes a different type of outlook on the church. Now, one of the things that we're going to make clear in this video, in this podcast episode, is that one of the things I want you to understand is that the church is just a building. It's the temple. And it never did anything to you. Now, maybe the people, baby. Now, that's where the church hurt is. I don't ever want you to get it misconstrued or twisted that the actual building did something to you, because the building is just where you go in and get your deliverance. It's where you get that salvation. It's where you get that set free at. Now, I know somebody all like, girl, I am the church. And yes, baby, you are the church. I am the church as well, too, baby. And so when I'm being reminded of that scripture, like when you enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Now, this is where you will have to ask God to give you that strength. And this is also where you have to pray and ask God for forgiveness. Okay? So one of the things I want to start off with is oh, Jesus, y'all, I'm so sorry. One of the things I want to start off with is knowing that whatever you had, God already knew that you were going to experience the church hurt before you had experience. And you may have experienced that at a young age. I've heard people say that they experienced church hurt at a young age. They were told things like they couldn't do this, or they couldn't wear this. They was even when they was just young people just trying to come into church, or they've had family members that that were in church, but behind closed doors, they acted a different way. And that happens. Maybe they family members was the mother of the church. They family members was like the deacons. And then they like, nah, they don't even be acting like that. And see, the church hurt starts with people like that is like around them. Because they've had people that would take them to church. And then not even if it's not even the people that's around them, it's what they had even seen with their own visual eyes. It's what they had experienced at hand from themselves. Now, one of the things I want you to understand is that in the video of that I did where I said there's a shift that's about to take place, I told you guys, I said it's important to have a relationship with God. Now, I didn't get deep into all of that because I knew I was going to come back with a part 2 for you guys. So the reason why it's very, very important to have a relationship with God is because when he comes back, he's not going to judge. God is going to judge on both ends. He's going to judge the church that hurted you. Then he's also going to judge you. Now, this is where the judgment for you comes in. Now, we're focusing on you because for those who have wanting to are wanting to, have a closer relationship with God, or you may not even have a relationship with God, and you are trying to, figure out which way to go, figure out who to turn to. The best thing to do is to find your relationship with God through him. Find your relationship through God, through prayer and through fasting and reading his word so you can have a relationship with him. And once you read his word, you pray and you meditate on his word, and he will speak to you with what he is trying to say to you through his word. Also, you want to make sure that you are reading Romans 10:9. That is that scripture where you will gain that salvation. Now, granted, you've been through church hurt. God is going to judge you off of you. Number one, that forgiveness. You got to forgive. You have to forgive. And see, this is why I talk a lot about forgiveness, because forgiveness can block a lot of blessings. Many times you may think you did something wrong. Many times you may think that that God's judgment is upon you, or God's wrath is upon you. Let me tell you this. Spiritually seeing a lot of things, and you may see this as well too within people and even those that's around you. 9 times out of 10, sometimes the reason why is because of that person's faith. It's because of unforgiveness. If you think about it, going back to Genesis, in Genesis, where how Eve listened to the serpent, like she didn't even trust God. She didn't have that full faith that he knew what he was talking about. She let the serpent come in and deceive. And so that has happened along the way within like the church hurt. In the church hurt. And I wish I can go back and forth like from Genesis and stuff, because I read it. If everybody know, well, I'm not even going to say like everybody knows about Genesis and stuff, but Eve was basically like deceived. And just like a lot of us on today have been deceived and have been robbed out of our blessings. And if you've robbed out of your blessings through unforgiveness and allowing, things to overtake you to where it blocks your blessings. That's why I say you can't be automatically thinking that you did something wrong. 9 times out of 10, baby, it's that unforgiveness. 9 times out of 10, it's because that faith, because that was the first sin on the earth. Not having faith, not have how she didn't even believe God. She went ahead and believed the serpent. And so when a lot of that church hurt comes around us and things that have been said to us, even when it was a little girl, that was things that was said to me, y'all, when I was a little girl. When my mom took me to church, and I love the fact that she took me to church. But as you grow older, you have to have that relationship with God. That scripture will train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get old, they won't depart. Yeah, that scripture has some truth in it, but it's not only talking about within in the actual raising them up into church, but it's talking about raising them up in their homes, raising up a child up the right way. When you install something positive into a child, they will never forget that. That's like if you train up a child to know their affirmations. Like that mother on TikTok, she started off with she's a white lady, and she got a little black daughter, and she started out by doing affirmations with her daughter in her hair, but over time she was just using her daughter for clout and money and stuff like that. But it started out, that little girl would never forget those affirmations that her mother did to her, but she's never also going to forget the trauma that her mama did to her behind closed doors. I don't know if you some of y'all gonna know what I'm talking about, that TikTok mother that's exploiting her daughter for money. And it's supposed to start off as a positive thing, but it just went left. Now, before I lose myself, let me get my pen. But I was talking about, church hurt starts in so many different ways. Church hurt started for me when I was young. I used to be on the praise dance. I used to praise dance in my church growing up. And there was the lady that was over the praise dance. She will always try to make me and my sisters feel, she will always try to belittle us. And this was the same lady. She will always be like, you think you grown, you smelling yourself. She will always try to talk about our body and that y'all girls, y'all try to talk about our body. Y'all got big titties and y'all just got so much this, and we was really healthy, beautiful girls, and she was jealous. Put it like that. We was just healthy, beautiful girls. And one of the things that I learned from that was that even older women can look at you young girls and can see a lot of things in themselves that they wish that they see a lot of themselves into you. And so they'll hate on it. They'll be jealous. They'll try to live through it. And so a lot of the church hurt has caused you to withdraw. See, a lot of you may have went to church, as younger. Your grandparents or your parents may have took you, and then when you got older, you just, kind of been like, I'm done with that. Like, what I see, like, that's not what I want to be a part of. Now, like I said in the video with the trying to think of the title, I just forgot it that fast. There's a shift that's taking place. Like I said, every church has their problems. Every church has their flaws. Every leader in that church is not perfect. So that's what you have to understand. Number one, when it comes down to church. Number two, what I want you to understand is that God is not looking at, he sees it all. But when it comes down to you and him, he's not looking at what others had did to you. Now, that does not mean that God is like, I don't care about what they did. Now, and when I say that, he's not saying that he doesn't care at all, because granted, he does care, but he doesn't care to a point to where it's causing you to lack a relationship with him. And I know you're probably like, well, life aspects, like, I'm not lacking no relationship with him just because I don't go. Now, listen, there is a difference with you can have church in your home, you can have church in your car, you can have God can meet you wherever you are. I will not take that away. God can meet you wherever you are. Now, there is a difference with being in a actual being in his presence. Now, when I say presence, the presence is his temple, is his temple there. Now, one of the things I need for you to develop is a strong mindset. You're going to have people that talk about you. You're going to have people that judge you. But this is why I tell you to read to have a personal relationship with him for yourself, and that, build a relationship with him. And also, the reason when I say build a relationship with him, the very thing that you're dealing with, or the very thing that you're faced with, 9 times out of 10, not even 9 times out of 10, 10 out of 10, baby, he gonna get you through it. 10 out of 10, he gonna let you know, listen, I don't need you to worry about what sister such and such, how she looking down at you. Sister such and such got her own problems that she gotta that she have to get on, and that's what happens. There's a lot of judgment that is going on. But then also, one of the things that I want you to know is that there is a judge rightly thing. There is correction. There is also where a thing to where you call out what is right and what is wrong. Now, this is where, when this happens, this is where a lot of times where it will be, whenever you call out what is right and you call out what is wrong. 9 times out of 10, there is going to be manipulation involved to silence you. There's going to be things that is said like, don't spread discord. Let's not judge. Let's not do this. Let's not do that. That is all of the manipulation tactic to shut you up. That is all a manipulation tactic to just get you to not to get you to think that you're the wrong, you're wrong, and that you can't speak out and say anything. And God tells us to judge righteously. God tells us to even speak out for those who can't even speak up for themselves, and that's in Proverbs. And see, a lot of times you will have a lot of church people who will look over a lot of things, who will look over a lot of things that are in the Bible, that are in the scripture. They will look over those things because they're either one, they're probably doing that. 2, because they know that in their heart that they are doing that, but they don't want to break away from it. Sometimes it's shame, sometimes it's guilt, sometimes because they really enjoy doing it. But whenever you are faced with things like this, there's a lot of things that comes within, church hurt. When you're told not to what to wear and all of that stuff, or you can't come to this church. I know I seen a sign where they was like, you can't have a certain type of like hairstyle. I really think there was it was something on Facebook I seen a while back where they were like, no braids. I think they said no braids to come in. But one of the things a lot of people get it misconstrued is when that scripture that says come as you are. Now listen, that scripture come as you are, you have to be mindful of how you let that slip off your tongue, that come as you are type of scripture. All right. Now that come as you are, I'm gonna see y'all in the next episode. Hold on.